Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we talk about all things crypto market. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss Trump's crypto reserve announcement and its implications on the crypto market at large. We're going to talk about major upcoming catalysts today and this week. And we're going to talk about all of the latest from the meme coin and leverage trading trenches. Easy, GM, how you feeling today, Easy?
I'm alive and well, my friend. Market feels good. Feel like we have some life back in the market. You really can't complain when the price action looks decent. We're getting a little bit of a retrace today. Not unsurprising, considering Sachs's comments this morning. Considering the speculation now, if it's taxpayer money, what it is, how it's going to work. We have an announcement at 1:30 about investment from the Big Don, which will be very interesting to see. Very curious to see what's going to happen there. But we have the crypto summit on Friday. So I think we may get some more positive news here about what the US's stance is on the crypto scape. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Had some days off last week. You guys held up in my absence. I watched the shows. It was awesome. I miss being here, so I'm happy I'm back. I've been diving back into the trenches and seeing what's going on all around all weekend. So it's been good. Signal, it's been a while since we chatted. How you feeling today? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Easy, sorry, right? It's been a weird couple of days politically. I think it's interesting what crypto is doing in the eyes of what's just happened recently around the drama with Trump and Zelensky and where the EU is. While like crypto has recovered on the news, obviously we're going to get this executive order. It definitely feels like if we didn't have that, there'd be some real like downward action and sideways chopping. It still feels a little uncertain. Like it's great news we've had this executive order news, but I still feel like there's a lot of macro conversation that we may touch on upon this show that could seriously have an impact on what could happen to crypto in the future. I just don't think like what happened on Friday will be brushed over and we'll just move on. I just think there's a lot of conversation to come from the US's allies and that direction, and that's going to impact the market.
Yeah, definitely a lot went on over the past week. We saw bearishness. We saw everyone calling for 72K Bitcoin. We've rebounded now on the bullishness. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into the weather report in 1 minute, but we're going to let you know that today's show is brought to you in partnership with our favorite tax accounting software, Awaken Tax. They've announced now that Solana transactions 100% free. 100% free on wallets you add by March 15th. They moved back this deadline to get more people involved. So you have until March 15th. That's 12
Big
days.
news for me.
12 days to get your Solana wallets added to Awaken. So you can try Awaken completely free. You can add all of your wallets without paying a dime. So the alpha right now, even if you're not going to use Awaken, at least go on Awaken at awaken.tax, add all of your Solana wallets in case you do want to use it later. And then they will all be reserved for free transactions. Super important to do that. It's going to make a big difference because if you're trading on Solana, you are doing a ton of transaction volume. And the way that these tax accounting softwares work is you pay by volume of transactions. They have different tiers. So having all of your Solana transactions be free is a major bonus and money saving bonus, I'd say, there as well. But we love Awaken Tax. I'm using it for the first time this year. It is a million times easier than anything else I've used before. You can get 20% off if you sign up for Awaken. You can use the link in the comments of the spaces, or you can just go in and when you're signing up, use code BODOGOS. That will get you 20% off of Awaken. If you go into the Bodogos Discord, we have a code for 30% off for our Bodogos holders. Makes a big difference. We love Awaken Tax. Easy. Have you been using Awaken Tax? What have you been seeing?
I have. Dude, this thing has saved me a ton of time, energy, and effort. Plain and simple. Obviously, I've used a lot of transactions. And this thing saved me a ton of energy with it all. Fire it up, take a quick look, make sure you understand what's happening with the accounts. Then it's go through, adjust some things, and I can just send it over to the accountant for like a once over. Saved me a lot of time. Wanted to file an extension this year, able to just kind of run it. And I'm like, thank God, because let me tell you, previously it's been messy. And I think I have 42,000 transactions roughly this year. So that's certainly helped me out a lot. I will say it has certainly given me a nice edge, not having to deal with a lot of the BS associated with it. So very, very happy about that, and eager to continue to go through it and take a look at everything. I mean, they made it way easier. I've just synced everything from my BullX wallets to hot wallets, and just kind of let the software figure out the rest.
Yeah, it's been amazing. See some questions in the comment. The code is BODOGGOS, BODOGGOS, for 20% off Awaken.tax. Remember to head in there, at least add your Solana wallets. Test out the platform. It's completely free to enter your wallets. You're going to want to do that to reserve that free Solana discount. We love working with them. They're the premier partner that we are using ourselves. So we're excited to partner with great companies in the crypto space, such as Awaken. Nick, welcome to the show. How you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. I'm glad to see you. And separately, your camera is still moving all over the place. You got to get that. Do you have the Insta360 app installed?
No, you've asked me about 10 times now. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm just not going to do it just to spite you. I'm just kind of like slowly move around.
Thing is literally just like running all over the place.
Yeah. I got my skate decks hung back here now. This is new.
Oh, that's very nice.
Pretty sweet. I'm having a great time with that.
Wow, you got way more of them here. I have only 4 hung. You have 8. I'm doing pretty well. I had a good weekend. It's because crypto was pumping, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's over. I feel like this is the end. It was a good run, y'all. I texted Easy last night. I said I think it's time to hang up my hat. Just end it here. I think this is the cycle.
He's not kidding either. He did text me. We kind of went back and forth, like, is it over? Is it not over? How do we feel? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's over, personally. Like, me personally. But Nick feels like the market may be done, man. Nick's like, I don't know, man. It doesn't feel good. I'm like, all right.
It just felt like a weird thing this weekend with the Trump tweets, and I was like, really? Like, we're dependent on Trump bull posting us, basically, is what it's gotten to. The president of the U.S. has to bull post us, and we found out what impact that can have. Yeah. P.O. on the other hand, his tweets are just like I've been saying, it's going straight to infinity. You're a fucking idiot if you say anything different than what I agree with. Those were his tweets this weekend.
Yeah, we got a PO tweet right here pulling up. Investing in this market right now is easy mode. It's early cycle. First Bitcoin president. Traditional finance is here en masse. Pullbacks are just fire sales for the most valuable assets of the president's future.
Scroll through the sequence of his tweets. Just scroll through the sequence of his tweets.
He bought more.
These are my MicroStrategy buys on the dip.
LOL, MicroStrategy.
LOL, MicroStrategy pumped. Everyone else hating.
That screenshot's funny too, because it showed like the Sunday night futures. It opened at like 302. It's at like 260 right now. Like, it's basically giving back. Like, every time, dude, coming from equities, every time you get that pre-market pump, by the time it opens, it's flat.
Yeah.
Every single time. It never fails. It's like beautiful earnings. Ticker flies $250. You're up 600% on an options. It opens, and all of a sudden your options trade is underwater. And you're like, dude, what the hell just happened?
I do think the whole conversation around like what's happening on the strategic reserve was a massive deflection from the whole Zelensky thing. Because initially, when that conversation happened on Friday, I think the initial reaction on social media was like, oh, Trump, he's right. Why aren't you wearing a suit? All that drama. And then when you saw what happened with the EU leaders and how they treated him, the whole media changed, and it was like, actually, the way he treated him was really bad. So now Trump looks bad in the media. And I do think part of this crypto announcement was a deflection from all of that. Let's just change the conversation and go into something completely different so that nobody talks about what happened on like at the end of last week. So I don't know with this executive order if we actually get some meat or the bone, or we're just getting the scraps under the table and there's still like a whole bunch of Congress to go through and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. He sounds like an NFT like announcement from 2021. Big things are coming.
So this is the bullish news coming out. This is the thesis that I'm just like, we have all the expectations. We know what's coming. I don't know I don't know what else can happen at this point that basically lives up to this. Like, I just don't know what can be like a surprise basically at this point in time, which sends the markets absolutely surging at this moment. We saw the pump from Trump's tweet. We've seen the beginnings of a pullback. I don't know. I just feel like that was the last juice to be milked out of this thing right now. Is kind of the vibe that I'm getting in terms of at least in the short term. I don't know what's going like. You need literally China to be like, we're buying all of Bitcoin. Like I just don't know what
Nick,
statement can come out right now.
For the Chinese Strategic Reserve coming out. They have started pushing some form of regulation on it to determine how and what their Bitcoin Strategic Reserve is going to be. There was some stuff I was reading about last night. So I do think, like, this is what I was texting you too, was like, I think there's going to be like a Bitcoin arms race, basically. Like, how are they going to acquire it?
That was
Who's going
kind
to
of what
acquire
we
it?
discussed before this kicking off, and that was kind of the thesis. But I guess to me, this is bull posting. And when I see the timeline filled with, when it was filled with bear posting the other day, I guess the end of the week, like eventually I was just like, wait, like the timeline is way too negative at this point in time. So I wanted to be like, okay, cool. Then Trump does this tweet, and I'm like, the timeline is way too positive at this moment in time because he literally just posted a tweet. Like, it's literally a bull post. And they already said the only thing that he added was specific tickers, I guess, but they had already articulated the fact that they were exploring a strategic reserve. They had I feel like he had mentioned the SEC's been dropping all of these cases, and so we're seeing all of the positive catalysts that were effectively kind of theorized, anticipated, everything else that led, I think, up to kind of the bull run that we've experienced through the beginning of the year. And now essentially it's basically waiting on all that stuff to come to fruition. But it feels like almost like buy the rumor, sell the news, basically. And I feel like we're now in the news is happening. And so I guess I just don't know what's going to be like actually new to this, like the next domino that's going to fall. It feels very similar, and I'll wrap this. When I was shorting the market at COVID, when COVID was coming, for what I started doing was looking for more and more negative shit. What's the next domino that's going to fall? I'd be like, the banks are going to like implode. There's going to be a run on the bank is the next thing that like needs to happen in order for this like continued downward catalyst, basically. And I was theorizing, what's the next negative thing? And you could come up with whatever the worst thing that's going to happen. Literally, New York gets placed in a bubble. At like literally, for a bubble gets placed over us and no one can leave. Like, I don't know. I was like, what is the worst thing that can possibly happen? And once I was at that point, we hit the bottom. And I feel like the same thing. And I started losing money on my trades. I'd start buying far out puts, small amounts, hoping that the market would crash more. It wouldn't crash more, blah, blah, blah. Now we're in a similar thing with crypto, but on the inverse side. What's the next bullish catalyst that's going to come out? What's the next big thing that's going to take place? And we kind of have exhausted the thesis of what we've had. What's materialized is what we thought wasn't even possible when Bitcoin first came out, when crypto, that you would get an endorsement from the U.S. president and potentially the U.S. government. I think there are some other catalysts, don't get me wrong, that could show up, but it just feels like in the short term, we've kind of like, I don't know, I feel like we've kind of exhausted a lot of that stuff. And what we're left with is basically Trump bull posting things. You had David Sachs come out with that. I remember his presentation, and crypto dropped because it was just like, nothing manifested right then that was anything other than we are going to buy your bags, basically, and pump the shit. And David Sachs just posted a tweet that was essentially like, whoa, whoa, whoa. we're not spending taxpayer dollars, was essentially what he was saying to buy this, aka this may be overblown in terms of what people are anticipating the actual execution and policy is going to be around this stuff. So I don't know. I just feel like in the short term, we're kind of coming off the high that culminated in the crypto ball when the Trump token dropped, which was really not even anything government official. It was Trump dropping a token and trying to extract as much money as possible. And now his son, who's this, Eric. Eric is basically being like, "Hey, Dad, tweet this thing," is what we've gotten to at this point. It's like, yo, he tweeted, he was like, "Yo, how crazy is it that the crypto markets are open on weekends, but the traditional financial markets are not?" I'm like, yeah, bro, we've been around for this for a long period of time. Anyways, that's just my main thing. I'm not saying that I don't think it won't go up over time, but I just feel like the short term, we've milked it, we've squeezed the juice out of it. And I don't know what else is going to come out at this moment in the next few months that's going to be blow your fucking socks off. That everyone's just going to jump into the market.
Enjoy the bull market. Have a little bit of fun on the day after that we had a major catalyst and run after everyone was jumping off bridges under 80K Bitcoin last week. So that, and then B, we've had a lot of these announcements, but they've yet to take shape. We've had all these tailwinds building with regulations, making it more friendly to build in the United States. We're talking about potential tax advantages in the United States. There's all these things that are happening. These are tailwinds that are going to build for the future. And there's still a ton of things that can happen. I mean, that's why it's a definition of a surprise. You're I don't know what else they can surprise us with. Well, if you knew what they could surprise us with, it wouldn't be a surprise.
The simple thing, the simple response to the question that Nick asked at the end is just the price of Bitcoin going up. Once as soon as the price of Bitcoin goes up, then that's when you get people that are excited and interested. That's actually the #1 marketing campaign. We don't need an announcement from a government or the president. When the price of Bitcoin goes up, which that's what it does. Bitcoin does Bitcoin things. We're in the Bitcoin cycle. The price is going to go up, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be like, whoa. In fact, nothing is better than that. That's the #1 marketing tool of Bitcoin, is the price going up. The #1 marketing asset that Bitcoin has is its price go up technology, the greatest price go up technology that the world's ever seen, actually, by the numbers. So that's all you need.
Ohm Time Wonderland, those Ponzi's were really good, dude. They had a Lambo calculator
price
on the
go
website.
Up technology.
Keep comparing Ohm and Bitcoin. Put that, write that down, frame it.
That price go up technology. That's not literally what. Yeah,
Nick
Satoshi didn't give me a Lambo calculator. I don't know.
Nick looked at a chart that goes from $1 to $108,000 in 15 years, and he says it's not price go up technology.
Who's launching PGUT? Price go up technology.
Hey, let's dev that thing. I'm gonna crack dev. I'm about to dev the shit out of this.
We've been talking for a while here. Let's get through the weather report signal, and then we can kind of dive in a bit deeper into some of these topics. We've already done a little bit of dive, but let's
yeah, totally, Ray. Let's get into it. Actually, completely forgot we hadn't even done it. So let's get into it on Monday, March 3rd. Looking at that crypto roundup, the majors, they rallied on day with Bitcoin over 93,000, Ethereum over 2,300, and Solana looking tasty at $165. Over the weekend, top 3 stories. Well, firstly, what we're talking about, Trump signed an executive order on digital assets that directs the president's working group to move forward on a crypto reserve containing Solana, Cardano, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Trump will also make the investment announcement today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. He is cooking. Next up, the Ethereum Foundation announced new leadership with Haizo Y Wang and Thomas Stanzak. Sorry for completely ripping their names, but they'll be taking up co-executive director roles. Stanzak wasted no time in his new position and called out major Ethereum dApps to step up in the light of the new US crypto reserve announcement. And then lastly, renowned soccer star Ronaldinho launched a meme coin on BNB. The Star 10 token peaked at a 32 million circulating market cap before falling back to 23 million. So we're not out of this celebrity meta. But that is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Excellent weather report as always, Signal. We have a bunch to watch for this week as well. We have today coming out that 1:30 p.m. Trump announcement on investments. I don't know if it's going to be crypto related or not. And we also have PMI, U.S. manufacturing PMI coming out at 10 a.m. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the markets on that PMI announcement.
Random thing. So this shows up on my like I find this on the ground, this quarter here, and apparently it's an error worth almost $1,000.
What's the error? That's just like a weird quarter.
Yeah, it doesn't say quarter on it. It says it literally doesn't say anywhere on here that it's a quarter, and on the back there's no sign either. So I see this on the ground, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And now I'm looking it up. Basically, it's an error quarter. It says "in COD we trust" instead of "in God we trust."
Like the fish?
It's like a Yeah, it's like
from
definitely a scam coin. You're gonna try to cash it in for 1,000 and get arrested for money printing. Like you're gonna call us from jail. Like, dude, they arrested me for the fake quarter. I had no proof I didn't make it.
I don't know. I'm looking on eBay. Here's another one: rare Jovita Edar quarter, mint error. In COD we trust. Check this out. Let me just show this real quick because I just landed on a naturally occurring NFT on the sidewalk.
That's a rare. That's like a mega rare, like mythic. Top one.
I mean,
like 1 of 1.
Is this not real? Look at all these saying this. 2,000.
Hey, take a picture of the quarter and upload it to a reverse Google image search.
Why is this one $3.25? So that's the one thing that I'm wondering about.
Because that's a fake one from Etsy, which I think is the one you found on the ground.
You think so?
I can't feel the quarter. I don't know if it feels like plastic or metal.
But this one, see, look at this one.
Making these.
Oh, Vita Edar. See this one, is this fake? Okay, maybe I didn't get it rare. I want to apologize to everybody for the early celebration that I had. This says that you can buy one for $9.
$1,000 quarter.
I mean, I don't know. It felt pretty rare when I saw it. My hands have been burning ever since I touched it, but that's a whole other story.
Interesting. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. This executive order on digital assets is interesting. We talked about a decent amount. Crypto rallied on the announcement. We're back at 6% gain on the total market cap. We've pulled back a little bit.
Was it an executive order or was it just a tweet?
Trump signs executive order on digital assets. He tweeted about, I guess, that he signed a digital, like, I don't know if it's like rehashing like something he signed before or if he signed something new. But that's how it was framed. Basically saying the president's working group is going to move forward on the crypto reserve. Zach XBT called him out saying, why are you buying Cardano and XRP? They don't have stablecoin support from the major stablecoin providers. And then also that XRP's co-founder could hold $7.2 billion worth of the token in wallets from when it launched. So he's basically saying, like, you're an idiot. Why are you including these other tokens in the reserve? So another thing to watch out there. We talked about China potentially speeding up Bitcoin adoption for their reserve. This is just like kind of like a tweet from David Bailey. There was like more speculation than anything. So I guess the next shoe to fall, well, there's two shoes, a right foot and a left foot, I suppose. The left foot
fall.
Yeah. The next shoe to fall.
Is that the way they say it?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely what they say. Trump's investment announcement at 1:30 Eastern. Does this involve crypto, do you think?
I can't imagine that it. I don't think so, but I feel like the masses aren't like awaiting.
No, I was at a wedding this weekend and I tweeted about this. I talked to two really smart people. One guy was a chief data scientist at a startup and the other guy has an AI startup and he was in crypto in like 2013, 2014. He was talking about how much Dogecoin he had 10 years ago. He ended up selling it on eBay and like found an extra 80 million Dogecoins or something. It was like, oh, fuck it. The guy bought the Dogecoin. I'll just send this to him too. And it would have just been an outrageous amount of money now. But to them, they're not paying any attention to Bitcoin, to the crypto cycle. Wasn't really a thought. Like one guy thought it was interesting. He had IBIT. He bought IBIT at 100,000. It pulled back by 20%. I kind of talked to him about stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Normal people are not looking to Trump for, Bitcoin or crypto related announcements.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to see what the hell, if you want to pique my interest, announce that the president's going to have an investment related update at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time today. I'm fucking interested.
No, I think it's going to be something really boring, PO. Like, I'm sure, from that family, we've seen a little bit of a trend that they love to break news on the weekends just because, they're rogue. I think this is going to be something so boring, like an investment in, up there with that kind of renewable energy. We're going to invest in Canada. We're going to buy Greenland, investing. I think it's that kind of boring investment. I don't think he's going to do something juicy at 1:30 p.m. that's related to crypto that's going to get all of Twitter really hot. I don't know. It just feels like that, right? On a Monday, it might move the stock market, but I don't think it's going to move crypto in the way that we all think it's going to do it. That's my guess.
Overarch nailed it here. NFT ETF announcement. That's what's coming at 1:30.
It's such a ridiculous. It's literally like, dude, he's literally mastered Twitter as it applies to crypto people. It's like announcement incoming.
It is pretty funny, man. He literally announced an announcement.
The president announced an announcement.
I mean, I'm curious to see how much they're playing this, the crypto savvy family. I think they're savvy enough that they're okay, well, I know what the market's going to do if he does this. Am I longing these? Am I taking futures out knowing that these tweets are coming? And how does that work? I'm really curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, actually, Shovel NFT says the US buys TikTok. That's the kind of thing he could announce at 1:30. That someone like Elon or whoever is just yeah, we're buying it. Therefore, all TikTokers can, continue as usual. Nothing to worry about. I think that's the kind of thing we get at 1:30.
I think that's fair for sure. Yeah, I mean, who knows? It'll be interesting to see what the deal is with it. They will buy a punk for the no, they're not going to buy a crypto punk for the digital asset reserve.
We're going to buy a ton of Bitcoin, some ETH, Cardano, XRP, and yeah, let's throw a punk in there. Why not?
It's a good looking punk.
Yeah, it's a good one. Got it cheap. All right, second shoe to drop. Friday, crypto summit at the White House. They're hosting their first ever crypto summit Friday, March 7th. And it's going to
How do I attend this?
Founders. Are you a prominent founder, CEO, investor from the crypto
industry?
Absolutely.
Well, I feel like you're on the list of invites then. So maybe you just got to ping David Sachs on Twitter. Be like, yo, it's Cheers Rich.
We have such a small industry. It's like a high school, like Gordon, Gordon from Bored Ape Yacht Club said. To get into these things, I feel like it's it's similar to getting near Trump at the Bitcoin conference, because you got the whole swath of the OG Bitcoin people that are I have the right to be there, like that or whatever. Then you got a bunch of crypto people that, think they're cool and want to go to that. I feel like getting to this would be hard, but if anyone could do it, I think Nick would be able to find someone that would get him an invite.
Yeah, and if you're listening right now,
I'm just tweeting at David Sachs. I'm going to say you forgot to include my invite to the crypto summit on Friday. Who do I need to get in touch with? Thanks.
Let's go.
So what do we think goes on here? I think Trump is going to be attended or rumored to be attended to this. Is it just going to be speaking on his vision essentially with some people asking questions? What's going on at this thing?
I don't know, but this is wild shit. I mean, it's just wild because we had a 4-year run with the previous administration that was actually trying to kill crypto. We found out after the fact, right? Via Operation Choke Point 2.0. I mean, it didn't feel good for a whole period of time there. The 20 months was just a challenging time because of all of the regulation that was pressing down on the crypto side of the industry. If you were a crypto startup person, it was really hard. One thing, I know last week, a lot of people pointed out the owner of the Mets, that guy Steve Cohen, being bearish as an interesting thing. People were oh, well, Steve Cohen's bearish right now. I don't know about that. And even with me, I was just that's interesting, because that guy obviously is someone that pays close attention to the markets. He's a multi-billionaire. His opinion does matter. And then I looked it up, and he's a huge Democrat. So I was okay, so this guy just hates Trump and is saying that he's bearish on the tariff situation right now. So, and whatever your politics are, this isn't a political statement. I'm just saying we've seen this before when someone's anti one side of the political spectrum, they're going to do things like Joe Biden let the astronauts stay in space for the political sake. And now they're going to go up and get them down. They were supposed to be up there for 4 weeks. They've been up there for 8 months. People do crazy shit over politics. Steve Cohen's like a huge Democrat. So I was like, okay, I think I'll take his opinion with a grain of salt right now on the tariffs.
Yeah. Definitely think that makes sense. I'm going to switch topics now, though. Don't have much to add there on the tariffs. This one should be interesting. We saw an announcement last week with Base with their flash blocks, 200 millisecond block times. This morning, the purple AI frog came out and said that Base just killed Solana. And what happened is that Base dropped the mic with flash blocks, 200 millisecond block times coming in Q2. This is 2 times faster than Solana. Talks about bridge fees, etc. TVL going up in the last 12 months, thorough put, etc. So this is setting up a question.
This is why AI is dumb as shit, Ray.
With this update,
this is how you know AI is so far behind AGI, because you have stupid shit like this. A copy paste reply chat GPT scrapped together piece of garbage, not even understanding what it's yapping about. Didn't this stupid bot the other day just tweet that like this Sonic ticker wasn't real, even though it's FTM's rebrand? Like this thing's got so many issues. So many issues.
It may have issues, but the facts on block time are correct. So this would be two times faster than Solana. It's backed by Coinbase, the leading.
Did you see Mert's rebuttal to this
in the world? I did not. I could take a look though.
I think that just answers everything. As Mert said, really embarrassing to have to reply to a retarded drones, to be honest. But for humans who will see the replies, this is snake oil. Then click that. He calls it a marketing trick, a deceptive marketing trick. It's particularly nasty. So yeah, they basically just copied what Solana already has because it's the superior blockchain. And Coinbase's entire mission with crypto and the actual blockchain effort right now is to do everything they can to be Solana.
I saw Charles is it Hopkinson? Hodgkinson. He's got a disease. I think that's the name of it. So yeah, so same. So he was on a video at some, I don't know, he was in some interview, and he basically said in the interview, you're just pulling up his Twitter account and randomly scrolling through it. In the interview, he says Solana's to set up a node requires 15 terabytes or 20 terabytes now to replicate the blockchain, whereas with Cardano, it only requires 500 gigabytes or something like that. And he was like, this is part of the scalability issues of Solana. No one told him. He was like, that's because no one uses Cardano. But I guess, I don't know, like there's no data there to replicate. I think maybe one of the issues that he failed to figure out. But yeah, how big is Bitcoin's blockchain at this point? How much space does it take up?
Not sure. Cardano,
a couple trillion terabytes.
Okay.
I don't understand how Cardano exists. I like do not get it. I don't know who owns it. I don't know who uses it.
Are you familiar with Charles Manson? So cults, and the way that cults work is they just brainwash you. And Cardano is essentially a cult. You got Charles Hodgkin's lymphoma over here, who the guy just hasn't missed. Guy just hasn't missed somehow. There is speculation, though, that a lot of these, quote, made in the USA cryptos are essentially giving Trump and that ecosystem, that family, tokens to be in this, like giving the government tokens to be in this, which a lot of people think is what happened with Cardano and even XRP. So I think that's like a lot of the speculation. I don't know how XRP or Cardano exists either, both of them. It's crazy to watch the retail support for these things, though. Like there is a huge retail support.
Apparently, this isn't even true. It says a Solana node typically requires at least 1 terabyte of disk space, which is the same that a Bitcoin node requires.
Yeah, I don't know. But getting back to the point of flash blocks, you're saying they're doing the same things as Solana.
What is up with that?
say they are. Like I'm saying, like with the support of Coinbase, like is Base a serious competitor or threat to Solana?
Flashblocks are singular instances, though. That's not the continued use of the chain. So like they're not going to run flashblocks every single transaction. That's the other difference. So like, yes, singular instances like flash loans. You saw that $18 million offer on the Punk this weekend. The person could not have accepted that. It was a flash loan, which is basically place the offer, remove the offer in the same block so it hits the blockchain. So flash blocks can work, yes, and sure, those may be faster than Solana. The continued block time of Base and what it's doing is not faster than Solana.
Okay.
So that's like the major difference. I like Base. I've made a ton of money on Base. So I'm absolutely a fan of it. But to just I think the weirdest thing that's happening is that they continue to push this like we're better than Solana narrative. And Jesse's even said like, how do we get the Solana community on Base? Multiple times, which seems like they're conscious that Solana is eating their lunch and they just want to do everything they can to have some capacity of it, like some same play, which I don't think is the right attack plan.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Somebody uses both Base and Solana. I don't find the block time to necessarily matter either one without this flash block.
None of that shit matters, dude. It's fast enough. It's not like ETH. I don't wait for the transaction. It's not like Bitcoin. I don't wait. I press the button. It confirms. Like, cool.
Right. So, I mean, retail probably doesn't know the difference as is. So if they are getting faster, it'll be interesting to see. I think that's more of like for like institutional applications, like commercial applications that are trying to like do arbitrage and need to get X transactions through marketplaces, etc. So more infrastructure rails that matter for that scenario than, I guess, pure retail, if that makes sense. Moving on, though, unless anyone has anything else to add on Base and Solana, we saw that Michael Saylor makes a little bit of a misstep last week, fails to buy Bitcoin at a discount. Didn't purchase any Bitcoin last week as it hit some of the lowest numbers it did all week. MicroStrategy did not buy any Bitcoin from February 24th to March 2nd. The pre-market stock price went up, though. I saw as high as 300 PO. How are you feeling about MicroStrategy this week? Do you have a strategy for your covered calls? Are you buying? Are you worried about price go up with all these crypto bullish announcements? What's your thoughts?
It's over because he didn't buy last week. The whole thing's gonna crumble. So that's number one. I was thinking I might not run any covered call stuff this week because it feels very potentially bullish. I don't know, but I also haven't looked at the premiums.
Run it.
The
We're
market
not pumping anymore.
The market just opened 11 minutes ago, and so I haven't checked the premiums yet. So we'll have to see the premiums, and then I'll make a decision from there. Yeah,
it makes sense. Next topic, Luca. I had a MicroStrategy specific question for Pio. Do you want to add to the MicroStrategy topic?
Well, yeah. The main thing I was gonna add is I feel like we top, baby. We top. That's the vibe that I'm getting right now. I think we should solve a little more Solana, if I'm being honest. And I was actually feeling that before this fucking pullback right now, but I don't know. I'm not saying that the price won't one day go past the high that it has. I'm not suggesting that
right now, like local.
But I just think short term, I'm hard pressed to find something that's going to be remarkably bullish for crypto. I don't know the thing. I'd be curious if any of you have like, what is the thing that you think is going to happen in the next couple of months that you think is going to come out that they're going to say, holy shit, like this. There's a policy on stable coins, which is expected. David Sachs had anticipated, he thought in the next 3 to 6 months was what he said. And there's obviously interest in stable coins. Does that inherently drive the price of Bitcoin higher? No.
I think the price of Bitcoin will go up on its own because of the Bitcoin cycle in the next few months. And that could get people really excited about crypto. If you're talking about like external news that could potentially make the price go up more, it would be the nation state stuff, states in the United States accumulating Bitcoin, the nation of the United States accumulating Bitcoin, and other countries accumulating Bitcoin. But I actually don't think that news matters. I think that the price of Bitcoin going up on its own is more impact. Like really, all people care about is the price of this stuff. That's your reaction right now is a reaction to price. Like you're saying nothing's going to make the price go up. And the reason that you have like this passionate opinion is because you're like, well, the price isn't going to go up. And that's a huge deal. Right. And so, yeah, I think the Bitcoin cycle, Bitcoin's going to do Bitcoin things. And I think when it decides to do Bitcoin things, which could be a month from now, 2 months from now, could be tomorrow, who knows? That's when I think people get interested.
Yeah, I am actually on Pio's page about this, Nick. Like, I think when we get into that sort of like NFT mindset, where it's like, what is going to happen next? Like, I'm actually on the same page as you. I don't think we have that coming in the next like maybe month or 6 weeks. But then again, I could be completely wrong. But then I'm actually completely indifferent to that because, as Pio is saying, the price is going to do what the price is going to do. There will be announcements along the way that will make Bitcoin go up, but that will come in a shape of changes in regulation. It is no longer seen as a liability for banks. It is now seen as an asset. And when that happens, it means that, for example, banks will be able to use it in a different way, and it will morph into a different type of asset class. I think like these direct announcements that people want, I don't think we're going to really see that happen very, very many times in the year. I think it's much more interesting to look for the mundane news around changes in regulation. Even like this nation state buying stuff, I'm kind of like, countries have either already made their move or they're going to be negative against it because they want to talk their own book. But I think it's much more interesting to see like how the change in the legislation will actually change how Bitcoin can be used in an asset class. I think that's what we're seeing right now is the burgeoning of an asset class, like how we had derivatives 30 years ago, and it was all sort of muddy and a lot of corruption and weird sort of transactions happening behind closed doors. That's what we're starting to see right now happening in a TradFi space. And I think that is way more interesting than these individual like X announcements that the timeline is just so thirsty for.
The traders care about those. That's who cares about those. Nick?
Yeah, exactly. The traders. Yeah.
And the traders in some ways are the ones making like driving a lot of price, literally price specific action is driven by the trading in and out essentially of these different things. The other thing I was going to say is the price action. You are correct. I'm speaking about the price action. I think the price since literally October. It has been post-election run-up, essentially. I think that's been one of the biggest drivers. So, yeah, I don't know.
So I asked Ray to pull this up real quick. This is from this morning. I've not watched this, but I think Tom Lee is one of the more reasonable talking heads that you see on networks like CNBC. He's also literally right about like fucking everything. If you look out like through history, this guy has a very high hit rate. Let's quickly as a group watch 90 seconds of Tom Lee. Let's see what Tom Lee has to say right now this morning. Hot off the press.
People, you're going to talk about Bitcoin, but now that we did, you do need to talk about it. I mean, it's come back a little bit. What did you attribute the move down below 80 to? Just that it's Bitcoin? What do you want?
Yes, I would say what's interesting is Bitcoin's not had negative headlines in February, but it was down. But I know our technician, Mark Newton, had talked about this being a cyclical downturn in Bitcoin through the end of March. So he was talking mid-January, getting down to 62. The weekend,
105 to 62. That's just Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a typical.
Do the math though. It's like, yeah, in a month, 105 to 62.
Yeah, that's a test of the resolve.
That hurts
bulls, right?
people that buy at 105.
Yeah, but as you know, Bitcoin makes all of its gains in 10 days. So if people sort of try to time this, they're going to miss out on a chance for Bitcoin to go back to its highs.
And by the end, at some point in this year, you think it gets, because last year you thought it might get to 150 or even higher, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to do better than 150 this year.
You do?
Yeah.
US dollar?
Yes.
What?
Hungarian forint.
Yeah,
I mean, like, what
I don't
do you
know.
want?
Something that's a lot less than $150,000. That's amazing. So a lot better than a lot higher than 150.
That's right, because it's becoming more widely held.
Yeah.
if Citadel starts trading it, it starts to have more broad acceptance.
Okay. Tom Lee, thanks.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger.
I didn't know he was talking about the 10 days a year. That's the thing that people don't. I tweet this out and people say it's wrong, which is insane because you could literally look at a spreadsheet and see that it is correct. It's like saying 2 + 2 = 4 is wrong. All the Bitcoin gains come in 10 days or less in a year. All of them. That's where all the majority of the gains. In fact, it goes down almost every day. Look at it. MicroStrategy went from 540 to 230. That's number go down technology, right? It goes down almost every single day, and then it goes up violently. That's why you can't trade this thing. And that's also why if you don't hold it, you're cooked. How could you try to trade the thing if it's going to randomly go up 10 days a year? When you think there's bullish news, it goes down. When there's no news, it goes up. It just does Bitcoin things.
Well, I agree. It goes up 10 days a year. Let me show you the 10 days this year that it went up. Or in the chart. So I'll do over 365 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. There you get it to the top. And that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying it's not going to hit that level again. And Tom Lee, love his glasses. Maybe he's right. But my biggest take is just in the short term. I would argue that a lot of the up since October has heavily been built around macro side of things, being specifically the presidential election, the U.S. presidential election, has been the main catalyst. So that's my main take on it, and maybe there will be some other reason why those 10 days happen or when those 10 days happen. Yeah, I think it's impossible to predict what 10 days happen when people are like, should I buy or sell today? I'm like, just buy the damn thing that you think is going to keep going up, and just as it goes down, buy some more like that. And I think that thesis holds across most asset classes that you think are going to go up. Go and buy the thing as it goes down. Microsoft was 30% off. So buy some Microsoft. You think that asset is going to go up, buy it. Like that. That's the, and it's not like they're suddenly issuing a bunch of new shares, which I think, interestingly enough, it's comparable to something like Bitcoin or something like that, where literally there's not new issuance of shares. GameStop does issue new shares, but
he's smart with the way he did that. Cohen or whatever, he crushed that with GameStop. I mean, you have to do that when Reddit decides that your stock's going to go up 8x or whatever for literally no reason. You got to do that and capitalize. And now he's going to plow it into Bitcoin. That's going to be regarded as a pretty crazy swing.
So I'm not against DCAing. I don't think that that's the case. I'm just talking about short-term price action. I do think that a lot of it came from the president and the presidential election and the meme coin cycle that we just experienced. Those two things combined to create what was really an epic bull run, because people were FOMOing into meme coins, buying Solana and going into that. And I think that inherently, that just, it's like magical moments happen at random times throughout history, basically, that provide catalysts for things that are even more absurd than what we just observed on the crypto side of things. And I think magical moments will happen again that enable crypto to surge. It could be a new collective. The NFT cycle was not because of NFTs. It was because of all of the money printing as a result of COVID. And COVID was another magical moment that happened, which didn't feel really great emotionally. But when the price started going up and we all started making a bunch of money, that was when all of it suddenly felt good. So that was a complete like black swan moment that occurred. The financial crisis, black swan moment. Like you're looking for these different things. And I think that actual book, the Black Swan book by, I'm blanking on his name.
Nassim Taleb.
Yeah, it's so good in terms of articulating these like how the market operates. It's basically similar to Pio's statement about 90% of the time the price goes down. His basic argument is 90% of the price action happens during these black swan moments is basically like his, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm sort of paraphrasing basically. And so you can't plan for those moments necessarily, but you need to anticipate what those black swan moments could be, whether that be bullish or bearish catalyst essentially. And that's when all money is made. And so I think that across all asset classes, this sort of stuff tends to happen. And so, like, you need to prepare for it. And dollar cost average, I don't know if the Richest Man in Babylon book has that in there. I think it essentially talks about saving 10% of your net worth. And I believe it had dollar cost average in there. Or maybe it's another book that has it in there that tells it through some, mystical storytelling format. But basically, yeah, those two approaches, save X% of your income, dollar cost average, those two things basically will set you up for success with all of these different things. And someone says, yes, huge catalyst would be actual purchases. And I'm saying that's exactly what you're waiting for, but that's the most bullish outcome. So I'm just saying in the short term, I'm not talking about over the long term. The short term, I do believe that that's kind of the thing that you're waiting for them to come up and say is exactly that. And I just don't think that that's going to happen in the short term. Do I think that crypto will rise again and hit all-time highs? Yes. Do I think that that's going to happen imminently? No. And the main reason is because all of the announcements that have come out essentially. And now it's going to just take policy, which I think takes a lot longer than people anticipate. And all the tax stuff that people like 0% taxes. You think they're just going to abolish the IRS in the next fucking 6 weeks? Come on.
No, that's the traders. I'm telling you, dude, you can tell the traders from a mile away. When people are asking about news and stuff, I'm like, oh, you're just you're out of your mind. You bought something to sell it and you're down on it and you're desperately clinging to try to get any sort of exit on it. It's just, it's embarrassing. That shit is just embarrassing. But real quick, I have no idea what's going to happen in the short term. No idea. I know currency debasement's always at play, so that's something to think about. But what I was going to say is I am genuinely curious as shit to see if anything comes of this week with this summit on Friday and whatever the hell the announcement is today at 1:30. I'm just curious. I don't know. Yeah,
I think the summit is not actually a major announcement. The summit is basically just getting a collective of crypto associated people together to say, we're going to do crypto things and we're doing it from the White House. And our administration is the greatest thing since sliced bread because they're basically politicking, essentially. That's what their job is to do to a large degree. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think the market's anticipation of all these different things is vastly overblown. If you go and look at everything on the timeline, I just think that it's vastly overblown. And when a tweet from Trump saying, I'm going to put Cardano in the crypto strategic reserve is the thing that you were waiting on, holy shit, we're fucked. That's basically my kind of vibe. That's what I was feeling yesterday. I was like, I think it's time to get the fuck out of here in the short term because he doesn't rule with an iron fist. He doesn't put a cane down and say, and the commandment of Trump is that the U.S. will go spend $6 trillion pumping our bags. He can't do that. That's not how the government operates at this moment in time. And no, I'm not sidelined, Sound Money.
No,
I haven't sold a fucking dollar basically out of my crypto. Actually, no, I did sell $20K to pay for taxes. I'm down $500,000 over the past few weeks.
That's how it goes. Real quick, I want to single out Keezy here. Wait, this is I remember Keezy with the family. Wait, didn't Keezy have a wild comment last week? And we were like, wait, he's saying that comment with the picture of his family? That's kind of nuts. I don't remember what the comment was. If anyone in the audience remembers, please remind me. Keezy's been in the comments here basically saying he's saying his message is, I love Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin. I want to buy it for a better price. And he said, you sound crazy buying Bitcoin here because you'll be able to buy it at half price. My feedback is, well, first of all, you have to say, maybe you're right. because nobody knows what's going to happen with the price. And maybe he's right. And it's going to go down to like whatever, 60K, 65K. Tom Lee was saying that they projected it to go as low as 60, 65K, which would be like a 40-ish or 45% drawdown off the 108K. Maybe it's a little bit more than that. No, well, no, it's less than that. But anyway, maybe you're right. But then second, I think this mentality just leads a lot of people to have less Bitcoin than they otherwise would. Oh, he owns a strip club. Yeah, I do remember that. He's got the picture with the family and he invited us to the strip club that he owns. That's exactly what it was. Thank you, Keezy. But anyway, that mentality of, I'm going to buy it for a better price, I just feel like does lead to having less Bitcoin. And I am a firm believer that it doesn't matter what price you buy Bitcoin at, or any insanely high value asset. It matters how much of it you have. Like the quantity is way more important than the price, because if you just straight, bought the top of like every local top, whatever, it doesn't really matter if you have more Bitcoin than somebody else does, because ultimately you're going to win. Like you're just going to win. So whenever I'm investing in insanely high value things that I plan on never selling and holding forever, like Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, I just focus on the quantity, because it's like, yeah, I just want as much of this as I can. I make quantity based goals and I hit the quantities. And right now my quantity based goal is pretty much solely focused on MicroStrategy. And once I hit that quantity based goal, I'm going to go back to Bitcoin.
Yep, that makes sense. I think that we're all kind of just talking about what's going to happen short term and trying to predict what's happening, but we're gonna have a lot of volatility this week, I imagine. And when we have this much volatility, I feel like options, perps market, and leverage tend to like be interesting. Easy, you've been crushing it with our DY account. Absolutely been smashing.
Just hit another short right now.
Let's go.
I just shorted Skull literally while you guys were yapping for a quick $523. Let's go.
You bring up the account. I'm looking at everything right now. ETH just nuked below 2,300. I'm seeing a lot.
We're at 42.85 from a
I was when I had this conversation with Easy yesterday that I just sold a bunch of our soul, because I still
I do think you're right. I mean, dude, the charts also, like, when I look at like I know TA's fake and all this other bullshit, whatever, but like this was my thoughts on Sol, was like this candle's rejecting off of a major range at 180. Double topping it to an extent, and I think we pushed back down to like that 140 range before grinding up. So like we're getting that now if we don't clean break over it. And when you look at it, we literally just scalped like a small quick trade on this while we were going from like 158 to 155. So literally that one candle was all I traded.
Yeah, the PMI just came out.
85.
Bitcoin to 85K.
No, Solana to $85.
Oh my god!
You think that low? You think we get another 50% retracement on it?
It could happen.
Bitcoin, I think I don't know. I think it hit 71K.
So I'm still in the same camp on Bitcoin. Like I am, like plain and simple. Regardless, though, we can trade both sides of it. We've turned this account now up 320% from start. So you can still make money in this market, which is fine. The Bitcoin chart, I like. Oh, this is my Aave chart. Bitcoin rejected under that trend line that we got. So you're saying down here, or actually between this range?
Yeah, I'm saying down to 72K, something like that.
76 is where I think it is.
That can happen. Like absolutely can
76
happen.
is still a bull market, by the way. Like that's it. Like unless we break under 67.
I wouldn't call it like you're in a short-term bear, like in terms of the fact, like if it ends up going down. Basically, what I think could happen is we grind down until Q4. People are going to be the timeline is going to be devastated. It enables all this other stuff to flush out. I just don't like Trump's tariff thing is real. It's not a short-term sort of negotiating tactic from what I can tell. I think that there's not a lot of super bullish catalysts from what I think. And I think we could grind lower for a bit. And then come Q4, we end up getting a little bit of something positive ends up happening, and we get the research. It's right when you're like, it will grind you down and shake you out. And we haven't been. We were grinded for 2 weeks? Like, I mean, like basically the world's shortest bear market ever. I in crypto, I don't know. Crypto, the last thing I'll say on this is the thesis that crypto is somehow anti money printer, like that it's inversely proportional to, like, that it's a insurance against the debasement of currency. I actually don't fully believe yet, because it hasn't happened. Like, literally the debasement of our currency has been the catalyst to actually make price go up when there's an injection into the economy. In other words, like,
do agree.
What's that?
You're saying that you do agree that it's essentially a protection against currency debasement. You're saying that you agree with that right now.
Yeah. Okay. I guess. Yeah. I guess I am actually.
You're literally I agree with this. You literally just did that. You banged the table.
What I was Nick, this grinding down that you're talking about, like, in your world, why is this happening? Like, why are we going to grind down? There has to be some kind of like macro behind it to make us grind down. Like, what is taking you in that direction, bar not getting, NFT headline announcements about Bitcoin?
So there's two things that happen. One, you end up with like some macro catalyst, which was COVID, for example, and the money printer, essentially. And then over the last year, we saw a bunch of people get in, or a lot of us make money in crypto with meme coins, with Solana pumping. And a lot of that was a catalyst from the Trump getting elected, essentially. And I think that was, and combined with what happened was some underlying part of the cycle. We saw DeFi, we saw ICOs, we saw DeFi, we saw NFTs, we saw meme coins. And so meme coins is the cycle that we've just had, basically. And that'll happen again. Something else will happen. And the timeline keeps being like, what's that thing? I'm trying to figure out what it is. And it's like, yo, just chill. Like, literally, there's like, you don't know what it's going to be. You don't need to predict it. And I'm not saying sell all your Bitcoin and try and time the market. I'm not saying that. I do think that, like, the stuff that I talk about on this show about selling is like, we have a lot of Solana on our own balance sheet in our company, which is absurd that, 40% of our operating capital is in a volatile asset, which I think is crazy. But that's the only thing I talk about selling for the most part. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, the emotional side of me wants to go and fucking dump something. But I haven't done that this cycle. But I just think that there's not a major catalyst, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. Someone said, the Sound Money says, only thing that'll send the market is quantitative easing. Yeah, you're probably right, and that may coincide with some other underlying thing. Maybe it's meme coins part 2. Maybe it's some other thing that ends up happening. I think we just you need to have patience. And this market gets very greedy, and crypto's built on that greed cycle. And a lot of people aped in, as it surged past $100,000, which was an iconic milestone for Bitcoin. I think pat ourselves on the back, say we hit that milestone, and then just have patience. Go back to work, do your day job, figure out what you're doing, and save some money and put some of it into Bitcoin. And put it into the other cryptos that you think are going to actually do well. Having patience with meme coins and having your portfolio 90% allocated to meme coins is wild shit.
I love Murad. I love him. Everyone else is getting so mad. Like when the prices go down, he's like, cycle has not even begun yet. I'm just like, dude, I love this guy. This guy's so funny with that stuff. And he's just a wild man for having such massive bags of meme coins and not not selling them when, like, come on. I mean, like $100 million, like what? I feel like he's a wild man. He's just trying to prove a point. Yeah, exactly. Prepare for a generational bull run.
Believe in something.
I want to make it clear. This guy believes this 100%. All these tweets, I genuinely think he thinks he's right, and he's putting it on wax. And I love him. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to go and full port random ass shit, Giga and SPX and all this random ass shit. No, I'm not going to be doing that. But mad respect to him for doing it. I mean, this guy is just on it. He's on it. And he's totally right about this. He's 1,000% right about this. You can't win by trading. You win by holding and DCing into the right thing. He's 100% right about that. That's not even up for debate, because all the people that are trading all the time are actually losing money, with the exception of the people that are insider trading. That's it. I had a tweet about Easy.
You understand the top tokenized cults will act as a hedge against the inequality super spike that will be caused by AGI.
That's so ridiculous.
He believes that. That's not a joke. He believes that. That's so funny. Nick,
So,
what are you gonna say?
I spoke over Ray during that. Let's just repeat the quote real quick before I make the statement. The quote from Murad was, few understand that top tokenized cults will act as a hedge against the inequality super spike that will be caused by AGI.
Well, actually,
I actually do think there is an inequality super spike that will be caused by AGI, which we are on the precipice of, which I am concerned about, and is like, get as much money as you can as quickly as possible, because the AGI inequality super spike is incoming. And I guess you know what? He's actually correct.
Go full port some wink and some Giga right now.
I don't know that it's going to be a meme coin, but yeah.
He's basically like, he's considering like Bitcoin a tokenized cult. You know,
it is.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So there you go. What were you going to say though, Nick?
That's the thing. Bitcoin is a tokenized cult, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a networked system. You can talk about all the technology and everything else, and there are huge underlying things that exist underneath Bitcoin. But fundamentally, the price action is largely determined by more people buying than selling, and people believing that this price will go up, basically. And that's all that literally drives the majority of all the price action, is people believing that the price is going to go up. That is it. And so, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Gold is the exact same thing to a large degree. Yes, you can use gold to make necklaces and things like that. But
though, it's not just that. The thing about this, I understand what you're saying. I don't even disagree with what Nick's saying here. I just, I feel like it's kind of like really academic to start to theorize about these things. And the guys that I was talking to at the wedding this weekend, like the smart guys, they kind of went in this direction. And I'm like, but the sort of like practical person in me is just kind of like, people buy it because it's like they think it's a great asset. Like that is why people buy a brick house, because they think it's a great asset. I don't think that the brick house people are a cult. You can call it a cult, though. You can. It's fine. It's just kind of like academic to start to talk about why someone buys a brick house, when it's like they're buying it because they want the brick house and they think the brick house is a good thing to buy.
I didn't realize there was a big thing about brick houses and a cult behind them.
There's brick house cult. Yeah, it's a brick house cult.
I'm sure if we look it up, we can find some groups that are like brick house people.
I think you buy a house because it's one of the primary needs of a human is shelter. But yeah, I mean,
I pinged you that new watch guy. Yeah, I pinged you the watch guy that I found.
But a watch is not an expensive watch is not a primary need of a human. Having a shelter is fundamental.
Of course, but these Ferrari guys, these watch guys, like this shit is like a cult. Like these guys are into this shit. They're into it. Like
Freemasons building brick houses,
antiques. Antiques. I have a family member that collects antiques, and he buys very expensive antiques. That's part of his portfolio, and he's a big fan of it. He actually went back and got a PhD in literal art history so that it would inform the antiques that he purchases. But the only reason that those things are valuable is because someone else is going to buy it. Like, so you do need a collective of people that want to spend money on the thing that you're buying.
Yeah, and
obviously, and the demand for antiques is not the same thing because people need it. It's because people have an appreciation for art, basically, and in this case, historical artifacts. Which is different than a house, and Home Depot, by the way, Pio. But which is the thing you brought up.
Epic. Dude, when we flip, I was actually doing math. I was like, so when are we gonna flip this motherfucker? Is it gonna be this cycle or is it gonna be
Wait, you're comparing apples and oranges, but okay.
No, I know, but I still it helps me like just have a target where I'm like, we're gonna fucking flip it. Like MicroStrategy is going to flip Home Depot. Like, I'm sorry. And when NVIDIA was just making graphics cards, if you plowed a bunch of money into NVIDIA as a graphics card company, if you somehow had the foresight that it was going to be the biggest AI chip company 20 years later as a result, like if you were able to fucking see that domino rally or whatever you want to call it, then you would have felt good. I'm just looking at Home Depot. I'm like, consider it fucking flipped. That thing is going to get flipped.
So unrelated, real quick, right? Was the thing I was going to say about this the whole thing is, it's very clear that David Sachs pays attention to the overall sentiment of crypto Twitter. Like, he actually does, and some of his commentary is inherently driven by what the conversations, and I wouldn't just say crypto Twitter, X as whole, but the people that are obsessed with crypto related policy is obviously crypto Twitter, and which has not is the one area that has not transitioned to crypto X, by the way, but that's less relevant. I think there's at some point he will realize the limitations of executive order related policy stuff, and he is in the weeds of actual practical policy. He seemed a little bit disappointed because his commentary that he mentioned, which I'd posted the video of and commented about, where people are like, why is the Department of Agriculture involved in like this policy? This isn't a big news, blah, blah, blah. And essentially what he was disappointed was that it didn't send the price of crypto surging. And I think the reality that he's going to face is that, unfortunately, unless you say, I'm going to buy your bags, which was Trump's tweet, essentially, unless it's, I am going to buy your bags. His tweet was, I'm implying that I'm going to buy your bags. The practicality of it is a little bit different. And then David Sachs came out with his nuanced response. No one wants the nuanced response, basically. No one wants that. And that's the thing that he's going to end up dealing with, is like, he's in the government bureaucracy working through all of that shit. And unfortunately, those announcements are not going to be the instant thing. At some point, it's diminishing returns of these things. And I think that we've seen the max returns, and it's the same as that constant cycle of token 1, token 2, token 3, token 4, like how the circle gets smaller and smaller. It's the same thing with announcement 1, announcement 2, announcement 3, announcement 4. It becomes boy who cried wolf sort of situation, and the impact just diminishes over time, and that's what he's going to face. Despite the fact that he ends up implementing phenomenal policies that actually set up the U.S. for an incredible situation to execute on crypto-related innovation and building businesses in this space, which is what is definitively needed, and some of the deregulation stuff around startups, which I think he has the possibility of literally pushing through, because he knows that better than anybody in this country. And I hope that he really excels and makes that happen. But I think it's something that takes multiple years, and I'm really excited for him to do that. But I just don't think the market is going to get this instantaneous gratification that everyone is hoping for. We're out of sort of like ammo, basically, when it comes to short-term stuff that can be done, other than the Fed jumping in, suddenly speed running, printing money. And I don't think it's going to happen the way that crypto Twitter wants it to. Like, suddenly we're just going to immediately cut interest rates.
Well, it's never going to happen the way crypto Twitter wants it to, no matter what. Like, if there's anything I would do, just betting against crypto Twitter's sentiment is like a beautiful, beautiful thing, in my opinion. Although there are moments when it's right, like when things are just undeniably bullish or undeniably bearish, people are like absolutely right. Yeah, we'll see. But damn, it's 10:17.
Yeah, I was
We've
gonna say,
going.
speaking of things that could come back and taxpayer money and all that, we might see a little bit of a stimulus coming out of Doge around tax time. But speaking of tax time, we're going to thank our partner one more time today, Awaken Tax. We love working with these guys. This is the premier tax software. Right now, they're offering free Solana transaction. That's right. Every single transaction that you made on Solana will not count towards your transaction cap. If you only trade on Solana, that means you're going to get the cheapest tier of tax program because it's all based on number of transactions. And on top of that, we can get you a little bit more of a discount. If you go and use code BODOGOS, you get 20% off at Awaken.tax. So this Solana program, it ends in 2 weeks. The alpha right now is just to go to Awaken.tax and enter your Solana wallets in, lock them into that free transaction tier. So you can go in, no cost, super simple. Just add wallets into your account. You can see what your kind of estimated taxes are. They won't give you an exact number, but they give you kind of like a ballpark range on like your gains, your portfolio value, etc. Highly suggest you do that, at least to play with the software and test it out before you decide if you want to buy it or not. And like I said, if you do decide to buy it, use the code BODOGOS, BODOGGOS, for 20% off. And if you have a Bodoggo, you can go to our Discord, get 30% off if you visit our Discord. We have a special code in there for you. We love working with Awaken. We're having a ton of fun. Easy, I saw you post about them here. What can you tell us about Awaken?
Me?
You.
I'm doing my taxes right now, Ray, and it's a dumpster fire. But you know what's helped me clean them up? Awaken.tax. I've got 42,318 transactions. And let me tell you, they've cleaned it up. So only 306 of them are high priority. So I got to go in. It's what I've been working on. I apologize. But you reminded me, it's almost tax season. And now that the Solana transactions are free, your boy doesn't have to pay an arm and a leg. So go use our code as well to get a nice kickback discount, whatever you want to call it, on the Awaken.tax software. Add all your wallets. You've been trading AVAX. You've been trading ETH. You've been trading the Bitcoins. Add them all. And this thing will give you the most accurate, most up-to-date, best way to send documentation directly to your accountants and make sure you're squeaky clean so you're not sitting in the top bunk with SBF and Diddy himself for tax fraud. But that's going to do it. Shout out to Awaken.tax.
Love that. Love that. You can actually add your accountant right into your tax software so you can jump in there and see what you're doing in real time. So if you're somebody who may need to pay
right? It does NFTs.
Yeah, does NFTs.
Let's go.
It does all that stuff. Does ordinals, does runes to an extent. There are some issues, and they have very good customer support. So if you do have an issue with one of your transactions, you can flag it, get in touch with them. They are very, very responsive. They add new things all the time. So if you're having an issue with them, I highly suggest contacting support. Great group of people there. They help everybody out. Anything we want to talk about before we wrap today?
Just as we wrap, just pull up this Murad tweet. We got a Murad tweet 5 minutes ago, guys.
Oh, juicy. Pull it up right now.
I just love this shit. I could read these all day. Delusional bulls will win in the end. He's right.
He's right. Nick is not a delusional bull. He is quite the bear this morning. We'll see what tune we have later this week.
Nick's being practical.
The practical bear wins in the medium term.
I just sold all my crypto. I'm just kidding.
And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for joining us. Great to be back here on a Monday. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Catch us on all major podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify. Watch us back on YouTube. See what we're talking about in real time. Hope you all have a wonderful Monday. Catch you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. End stream.